Im Wald, im grünen Walde, da steht ein Forsterhaus. Du, du, du. Lore, 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 Lore. Schon sind die Mädchen von 17, 18 Jahren. Lore, 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 Lore. Schon die Mädchen gibt es überall. Dum, dum. So everybody drinking Glen Silver's blended Scotch whiskey, special reserve, big bottle. From Scotland, people. It's from Scotland, you fucking Gibbs. You can see I'm a little bit hammered already. Because I finished off the red label that I had, maybe probably like a shot of that, 2 shots of this. Fucking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, cheers. It's pretty good. For $10 though, look at this. I hate this fucking thing. You have to shake the bottle like a fucking flaccid wiener to get any fucking whiskey out of the bottle. And to me, any sort of plastic in alcohol containers signifies a cheap whiskey. Cheap alcohol in general. $10 in total wine for a big bottle. What do you expect, people? Flavor wise, pretty good. Nothing to really talk about. Decent whiskey for $10. I'd buy it again. Today I want to talk about alcohol. Is it a hindrance or is it helpful in religious practices and spiritual practices, whatnot? Because if you look at like Buddhism, for example, Buddhism says alcohol causes heedlessness. And a lot of religions and spiritual traditions are against alcohol. They say it lowers vibes, lowers this. I don't really believe that stuff, people. Like the heedlessness example in Buddhism, it's like heedlessness to me is something you wouldn't do while you were sober. Alcohol is very subjective. That's why saying it causes heedlessness to me is nonsense, because it affects everybody completely differently. You know, some people get very aggressive when they drink. Other people just giggle and stuff like that. To me, alcohol releases my true inner self, you know? It breaks barriers. It allows me to, you know, it would make me do things that I would want to do sober anyway. Like when I'm sober, you know, and I see a cute girl, you know, after I drink, I'm going to go talk to her, you know? It's simple as that. If I stayed sober, depending on how I was feeling, you know, I might talk to her, I might not, you know. But deep down inside, I kind of want to, you know. So alcohol is like, yeah, let's do it, you know. This is where this heedlessness thing doesn't make sense to me, because heedlessness to me would be like, you have no intentions of murdering somebody while you're sober, and then you drink and you just murder somebody. So, to me, that's nonsense, you know. To me, alcohol releases just my inner nature. I become giggly, I become happy, you know, I bust my ass a couple times, I laugh, you know, I talk to some girls, whatever. And it's all good, you know. I don't become aggressive, you know. It's the reverse, actually. Like, if I see people beating the shit out of each other, I'm going to be there on the sidelines laughing my ass off, you know. And then I'll fall, and then I'll get up, and then I'll keep on laughing, you know. So, to me, it's actually useful, you know. Because if you look at various traditions, alcohol, basically in the entire human evolution, alcohol and tobacco pretty much has always been a staple. You know, every tradition, every sort of species, every sort of race of human beings indulge in alcohol since it pretty much existed. It was alcohol and tobacco. You know, the Vikings, they drank mead. Maybe the water supplies weren't too pure, you know. Everybody enjoys alcohol, people. Now, getting back into the Vikings, like, there's berserkers that would take Amanita muscaria, mushrooms and stuff, and then they go nuts and run into combat. That's a tool, you see? That's a tool. There's a specific tool for each situation, you know? Granted, I don't really see like hallucinogens or narcotics as beneficial. I know a lot of shamans get super intoxicated, whatever. But to me, it's like that just causes hallucinations, you know? It makes you believe that you're communing with God or something when in reality you're not communing with anything, you know? It's all in your own mind, you know, and it makes you believe all these false assumptions. Whereas when you're on alcohol or just tobacco, you know, something light, some herbs or whatever, um, and you have certain experiences, you realize that this is real, you know, there's no doubt about it. Whereas on hallucinogens, after you come down, you know, a couple days later or whatever, you're like, that was cool, but come on, you know? Did I really talk to a purple elephant in the sky named Ganesh, you know? To me, it's all. To me, it's just a ride, you know? It's just a ride you take when you're bored, when you want some fun, when you want some entertainment. It's like turning on TV, you know? It's just mindless, boring, just retarded fun. I don't think it has any spiritual potential, to be honest with you. I think true spiritual potential is attained in sobriety with maybe the assistance, like I said, of herbs, maybe lavender, maybe mugwort, maybe, you know, maybe tobacco, maybe alcohol, just stuff like that just kind of tweaks things, you know? Because things like Molly and all this other stuff, you take the volume knob and you crack that shit off, and there's no volume knob anymore. You go past the max. Whereas with all these other substances, you just crank it a little bit. That's it. You know? So, to me, personally, alcohol is very beneficial because when I'm sober, I'm like, I have all these ideas. It's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go to the forest on a full moon, you know, in the middle of the night or whatever. But after a couple of shots, you'll see me running there, butt ass naked. See, it's not like I just drink and it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna run to the forest butt naked. That's not how it works for me. It's like I have to have sort of an idea beforehand. Same thing with like some people say, oh, I slept with you know, an ugly girl or whatever. No, alcohol's retarded. I don't believe that, people. You know, like when I'm sober and I see like a girl I'm not really into, I'm not gonna be into her even after 10 shots. You know, I'll puke and I'll fucking just go away. You know. Whereas if there's a cute girl, that's a different story. Then, you know, alcohol kind of makes you act out on certain impulses. It's like, yeah, I want to talk to that girl, you know, whatever, maybe she'll like me, whatever, this and that, you know. But it's not like, you know, I never get drunk and go up to chicks and say, like, let's fuck or whatever. That's just not how it works. I say stupid shit like, hey, you wanna jump into the fucking ocean and then lay under the stars butt naked, shit like that. And then they look at me like I'm fucking retarded. Don't matter, people. Because like I said, it releases sort of inner personality of mine. It's like sober, it's like I may try to suppress like romantic type of things. And I try, you know, stuff like that. But when drinking, it's like, who gives a damn, you know? Who gives a damn? Still a fucking savage. Still a alpha all the fucking time, you know? There's just different versions of alpha. You know, there's alpha like bulky military sort of guy. There's alpha like intellectual type of guy. There's an alpha cocky type of guy like Conor McGregor. There's, you know, the silent alpha, sort of like, you know, a military sniper, you know, just like blasts fucking people into different dimensions. It doesn't say anything about it, you know, stuff like that. Anyway, alcohol does cause a little bit of a muddled brain, you know, it does, but I feel that I don't think it causes heedlessness, people. Like, I wouldn't slam my fist through a fucking window, a glass window, like, drunk, unless, you know, I really wanted to when I was sober. You understand what I'm saying? I'd probably smash my fucking head through that window while fucking, you know, being too drunk to walk, sure. But is that heedlessness to me? Not necessarily. Like I said, heedlessness to me is like, you know, other stuff, like I explained. Anyway, people, peace out.